outside the jail, to put it a little more dramatically.
So just adding a point to this, go to again the government servants whose service registers, for example, somebody has put in about, let us say, 25 years of service. The entries relate to date of birth and so many other things, when transferred, what kind of leave is this. Just to, within quotes, to harass that particular individual. A person asks about date of birth, fine, it can be given, qualification, this is everything given. Then about the details of the person's spouse, whether it's a husband or business. Now, where does he or she work? What is the income? This. Now, does it come within the purview of privacy? Should it be given or not given? When you make the inquiry, what is the relationship between this individual who is raising this query and the information sought about the spouse? The argument from the other side is that yes, this is intruding into my privacy because I have no relationship as far as work is concerned. He is my husband, all right, but nothing to do with my official work. Should I give or not? I will not give. So this is an argument. And this flagging the issue, let us debate.
If I can just add, see, there the problem comes that there is a Prevention of Corruption Act which talks about your assets. And when it talks about your assets being disproportionate to your known source of income, it then also links up assets of your wife and your dependents, etc., etc. So I could say that as a citizen, I have a right to know whether this particular officer's assets are or are not. Because you see, his service record is all on the web. Every IAS officer's service record from the day he joined till today, I can access to in 1 minute. It's all on the web. So that's why it becomes more difficult in some sense.
No, Mr. Singh, going back to the issue which you are talking and you expanded on that, you see, if under certain law, everybody's date of birth or the date of death is to be registered by some authority in the state. Now, supposing somebody goes and says that I want the date of birth of Miss Nirupama, should that date of birth be disclosed because this is held by the, is that a personal information of Miss Nirupama or it has to be disclosed by the, in my opinion it should not be disclosed because it is a personal information of a citizen. The date of birth which under a law, it is bound to be, given. In fact, Mr. Gonsalves will be able to correct me. I think that it is illegal not to register birth and death punishable. So therefore, that information would surely come in the category of personal. That is my opinion.
So as far as my understanding goes, registers of births and deaths are public registers under their own laws. So when something is publicly accessible under another law, then it would be a little difficult to justify denial under the RTI. I don't know whether it is publicly. Anybody can look at this. I don't. It's a public.
No, in the registrars of the birth and death, only birth certificate can be obtained only by certain individuals, not all the public. It is accessible only to the parents of the child or grandparents or things like that.
No. Let me just make one additional point in that. Now, where there is an issue relating only to that particular person, in the case of a person who has joined, producing a false date of birth certificate, let us say. Now, the other person wants to prove that this particular gentleman or lady is not entitled to join a particular service because this is the date of birth given is absurd, wrong. So then there is a case that you shall have access. But in general, the registrar of births and deaths, he is supposed to be the custodian of all these things, and it is his duty to ensure that this is also provided if it is required. You need not give a certificate, but it is accessible to the public. This is my view.
Okay, here there is a further complication, if I might just clarify this. See, ordinarily the law says that you cannot ask somebody for the purpose for which they want information. But this particular clause actually negates that, because this particular clause says that even information which is personal, if it is in public interest to make it public, you should make it public. The implication of that is that whereas I cannot be asked for the purpose under any other that thing, but if an exemption comes here, technically I could be asked, look, ordinarily this information is personal, we can't give it to you. But if you can tell us whether there is any public use of this, then we will be able to consider it. In which case your argument would come that I would say that, look, this is how I think.
Actually, I think this question, suppose there is advertisement, as earlier as mentioned, say this will be the age, this will be the qualifications, okay? Then he must have this much of qualifications. In respect, suppose in that particular examination, some other candidate, later on, if you ask other candidates what was their age, what are their qualifications, I think it is not a invasion because it is already mentioned there. So I think information should be not whole, and one may say it involves third party, but that also I don't think it is a third party because now the information belongs to the public authority, and it is responsible public authority to let it know in public domain. Because in that case, suppose if I say give, no, I cannot give, there may be some discrimination. Maybe in the age it may be unfit, the qualification may be unfit. So I think the purpose of that advertisement, purpose of the recruitment does not serve the purpose if we deny information. Thank you.
My reading of this law is that first, to claim exemption under section 8.j, the information must be personal information, which means it must relate to a natural person, not to a artificial or judicial person. Why I am saying this is because there are a lot of orders in which firms, companies have also claimed section 8.1j exemption, which I think is completely out. I mean, only an individual can claim section 8.1j. Second, after it is personal information, the thing to be seen is whether the disclosure of this information to the public authority was in the course of public activity or not. Which, to my mind, means, supposing I lost something and the police gets hold of my bag, and my bag has certain things. Now, there is no public activity in which this information has been obtained by police. Then, of course, it would not be given. But next is, even if it's personal information which has been obtained in the course of public activity, the issue is whether it's an invasion on my privacy. I think that in 95% of the cases where 8.1j is claimed is the crucial test. Is it an invasion on privacy? Now here my view is that privacy has a context with respect to with each society. There is no universal, like you have a universal right to life. You have no universal right to privacy. Because privacy will be defined in different situations differently. In India, we have not, fortunately, so far codified the right to privacy. In which case, I would say privacy is certainly what you do in your house,